Hello everyone, my name is Michael. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. On this channel, we'll be looking at project management. We'll be looking at project management from two ways. We look at project management from a waterfall perspective. Also, we'll be looking at it from an agile perspective. So when managing projects, we have two ways of managing project. Either we manage a project using the waterfall or we manage a project using the agile. So we'll be looking at this on this channel. And today I will be looking at the Waterfall Project Management Techniques. I will be looking at the overview of project management technique that we use that is called Waterfall. So in my next video, I'll be looking at the Agile and also I'll be looking at the Hybrid. So in real life, we have three types of project management techniques, or let me say we have three commonly used project management techniques. We have the waterfall, we have the agile, and also we have the combination of the two, and we call it hybrid. So we have the waterfall, the agile, and the hybrid project management technique. So these three most commonly used project management techniques are used in managing projects. So we use this three type in order for us to manage our project from initiation to completion. So, but today I'll be focusing only on the waterfall aspect of the project. So I'll be looking at how can we use waterfall to manage our project. So in my next video, I'll be looking at the agile way of managing projects. So I'll just present an overview. I'm not going to detail, just the overview of what we call agile. And also I look at hybrid. Also in another video where I will, why do we use hybrid? How do we use it? In what situation can we use hybrid project management techniques? So we'll also be looking at, and also lastly, I want to make it a series. I also do another video where I will be talking about how do we determine the project management that we should use, or who should determine this for us as a project team. So I will also be looking at this. But so today I'll be looking at waterfall project management technique. I will give you an overview of project management techniques. I will look at it from two ways. I will look at the waterfall project management from the linear way of managing it, where we have to complete a phase before we move to another phase to complete the phase. So we follow those phases, and also I will look at it from a process group view. In project management, either when we are managing the waterfall or when we are working on the agile, we all pass through what is called the project process group. We call it project management process group. So I will be looking at waterfall from this perspective, and also I'll be looking at it from the linear way. That linear way is mostly called software development life cycle. So anytime you type in Google and you are looking for waterfall, the diagram that you see is the diagram that will show you those steps. And those steps are the same diagram that we use when we want to explain the software development life cycle. Without any further delay, let's dive into it together. The waterfall project management approach entails a clear defined sequence of execution with project phases that do not advance until phase receive final approval. Once a phase is completed, it can be difficult and costly to revisit this previous stage. It is also referred to as predictive driven, or also we can call it a plan driven. So let me quickly explain this before I move into the software development cycle to explain waterfall. So we call it predictive because we can predict, it's predictable. So let's say you want to develop an application, a web application or a mobile application for a grocery store that the customer can use in order to order from their store. So before you develop this, we understand the process that we have to follow. Also, we have good understanding of the certain features that we have to put together as a software developer in order to get the desired outcome, the final product. So that is why we call it predict, because we can predict the outcome of our project, the product that we want to produce from the planning stage. Because during the planning, we have all the detail that we want to use. At the initiation stage, we have the high level. So at the planning stage, we have full knowledge of the entire process. So it's called a predictive because most of these projects we can predict. Remember, Waterfall can be used for construction, can be used in engineering projects, and also it can be used in software development projects. So we can use Waterfall either we're working on IT project or non-IT project. So we can predict. And also we call it plan driven because it entails a lot of planning. So we explain this when we get to when I'm using the process group to explain Waterfall. So in Waterfall, we do a lot of planning. We have the initiation step and we move to planning. So it requires a lot of planning in order to start the execution of the project. So let's quickly look at the project management from a software lifecycle development. So in software lifecycle development, we have the requirement gathering, or sometimes we have the analysis. And after analysis, we move to design. After the design, we move to implementation or development. After development, we move to testing. And at the testing level, we move to deployment. And from deployment, we move to maintenance. So these are the phases we have to follow. It's a linear way of managing project. So when we are doing the requirement stage, we work with other stakeholders, other team members, project manager, project sponsor, business analyst, in order to get a requirement. That is all for the first phase. So when we complete that, we get an approval and we move into the analysis. We can do analysis, or we can call it option analysis. We do extensive analysis of the feature of what we want to work on. After this phase, we move to the design phase where the UI and US and UI or IT architecture, they come up with the architecture of this app. So from there, they will be able to come up with how this app will move, will be able to join together and come to be a single product. So when they finish their aspect of the project, we get approval, we move into the implementation phase where the software developer will start working on the IT architecture they have designed. And when we finish this, we move to testing where we have the quality assurance people. The quality assurance people are the people that do the testing, or quality engineer or tester. They test it to be sure that we are able to fulfill the expectation of the project stakeholder, or what we have identified during the planning stage, during the requirement gathering. And lastly, we do the maintenance. So we deploy it and we do the maintenance. Maintenance is the last phase. So there are a lot of software involved in maintenance. We get feedback from the end user. We deploy. We have to be sure that everything is working. And at the end of the day, we come up with lesson learned, and also we'll be able to get the final approval and transfer the entire project to the owner, or to the end user, or the people that will be using it on a daily basis. We call it. So at that point, operation will start. We start the operation phase of the project because the project management phase has been completed. So that is how it works when we are working with using the software development stage to explain a waterfall. The second way of explaining waterfall project management is that we have what is called project management process group. And in this stage, we have the initiation stage, we have the planning stage, we have the execution stage, we have the monitoring and controlling stage, and we have the closing phase. So for us to move from each of these phases, we have to get approval. You finish the first phase, we get approval. At the first of the initiation stage, we get what is called project charter. So sometimes on this channel, we discuss project charter. So we have the project charter. So project charter is the document that have high-level information about the project that we get approval from the project sponsor and the project manager. And we have the opportunity with authority for the project manager to use company resources, the project team, and some other resources to execute this. So that when we move from initiation, we get approval, we move to the planning stage. At the planning stage, we do a lot of what is called extensive planning. So at the end of the planning phase, we get what is called something we call project management document. Project management plan document. So that is what we want to generate during the planning stage. So the planning involves a lot of things. It involves planning the schedule, planning the costing, planning the procurement, planning the scope. So we have a lot of planning. We plan the risk. How do we manage the risk? We plan the change. How do we manage the change? We plan the scope to ensure that all the procedure that we want to use in order to make sure that we maintain our scope all through the entire project. So we do a lot of instances, we do scheduling. We also identify what is called work breakdown structure. From there, we convert this into the schedule. So all these things we do it during the planning stage, and we get approval when we have that document, project management plan document, and we move to the execution. So what we have done in planning, that is what we want to execute. So during the execution, now we have the monitoring and controlling. So monitoring and controlling in that phase is the only one that we use from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. So the monitoring and controlling stage, we use it during the execution stage. So during the execution, remember, always that in waterfall, you have to complete the phase, move to another phase, get approval, move to another phase, complete that phase, and get approval. So we move to execution stage. We started to monitoring our costs, monitoring the risk, monitoring the schedule, monitoring the communication with the stakeholder, monitoring the vendor. So a lot of things in order for us to complete the project during the execution phase. And lastly, we do the closing. Closing is much of administrative work in waterfall. So we have to gather the lesson learned, we transfer the project. It sometimes involves training, and also we gather feedback after some week or some month from the end user that are using this product or this software to be sure that everything is working well, so that we don't need to have to handle any other bug or any other issue. So from there we get approval from the owner, the project sponsor of the stakeholder of the project, and from there we close the entire project. So if you look at it, it's always from one phase to another phase. So that is one thing about waterfall. There is no flexibility, and in waterfall we must always make sure that we get our scope right from the beginning. Why? If you don't get the scope right, and now at the middle of the project, we are getting information from the stakeholders. They want us to increase this feature, they want us to increase the scope. It will lead to what is called scope creep. And remember, when we're working on a project, especially in waterfall, we have some other dependency on the project. So once we have scope creep, or we have any delay because of change of scope, it will affect other dependency on that project, and it will cause delay on the project. It can increase the cost, increase the time to complete the project, and also increase the scope. So this will cause issue. So it's always good to make sure that we get everything right. On waterfall, we have better understanding, high level understanding at project charter level. But during the planning, we have to do extensive planning and ensure that we get the scope right. And also we must have this change management plan. Because if there's any need to change the scope, then we have to pass through what is called change control board, change management process. So we develop a project request form. From there, we now follow the process to get approval of that new additional scope. So at this point, I have to stop it. I believe I have been able to impart you with knowledge of project management and the overview of what is called project management using waterfall application, using waterfall approach. So I will see you on the next video where I'll be discussing on agile. So we'll be looking at agile in an overview of agile techniques in the next video. So thank you so much. Once again, my name is Michael. I'm a project management professional. I'm a PMP. Also, I'm a certified Scrum Master, and also I am a part-time professor at a college in Ontario where I teach project management to international students. And also, I have very sound knowledge of project management. So see you on the other side. I'll see you next time. Bye.